All right, let's talk agility. Agility, we first thing we gotta do is get on the same as far as the definition goes. If you ask most people what agility is, they're gonna describe um isn't that those agility ladders? They're gonna describe an event. Cone drills, an event. Okay, those are more like tests rather than agility builders. Okay, we have to address the things that increase your ability to do the agility ladder better, to do the cone drill better. Because just doing the agility ladder, the cone drill, it'll make you better at those scripted movements. It's more like choreography. Okay, and then you quickly hit a point of diminishing returns because you're not addressing the other variables that are critical to agility. Um, and the most critical variable is the ability to change direction uh, while under resistance, while there is a load on you, while there's, for example, in wrestling, while your opponent is resisting. Okay. Uh, and in extreme situations, athletes are put under extreme situations, cone drills, and agility ladders kind of quickly plateau in their ability to increase the extreme of the stimulus unless you intentionally add a weighted vest or a barbell to your shoulders or do something like that, which typically you don't see. Now compare it to strength training, your back squats, your lunges, your Olympic weightlifting, the clean and the snatch. Those train your ability to change direction under a load which we can measure and uh, with great accuracy, and we can progressively overload. So when you get good at squatting, full range of motion is important. Below parallel, you get good at squatting 100 pounds. You can go down and up quickly, fluidly, without losing balance. Then we're going to put you at a higher weight. We're going to keep building that indefinitely. So then when we take your 100-pound squat and we've increased it 200-pound squat and we go back and test you on the agility ladder or the cone drills, you will perform better. Okay, so don't, can't stress enough, don't uh late being good at choreographed movements as improving on a task like or a skill like agility. Okay, you see this in martial arts. I think it's one of the greatest examples that stands out in my mind. One of the biggest reasons wrestlers make the best fighters. They have the most championships in the UFC compared to the kids that grew up in a karate dojo. Is the typical commercial karate dojo. They don't ever go live. Okay, everything is choreographed. You do this, I do that, then you do this, and then I do that. And we each get 5 moves, and we know exactly what we're going to do. We're just going to rehearse that over and over again. And hopefully, something like our opponent does something like that in the street so we can defend ourselves as planned, which never actually happens in the street. It's chaotic. You don't know what kind of resistance, that's a key word, your opponent is going to give you. Okay. And you don't know what location you'll find yourself on the feet or on the ground. Okay. And what ranges of motion you'll find yourself in. That's why it's key to train yourself at full ranges of motion. So if you're displaying agility at limited ranges of motion, like running is not a full range of motion movement, you will be good at that because you're used to taking tremendous load through a full range of motion. So anything less than that is easier. It's like being able to sprint up a mountain. Okay, it's hard. Okay, there's resistance. You're going super fast. You're challenging your balance. Okay, you're challenging your strength and your endurance. So then anything less than that is really easy. So I'm gonna walk on flat ground for a mile because I've been doing hill sprints and not even miles of hill sprints, just reps, just intervals, less volume. I can do a task that's easier for technically more volume. All right, bigger distance. Okay, so that's what we got to look at when we're training agility and choosing our movements. Our hierarchy is very important. Is the idea of transference. Okay, does one move make you better at all other moves? Or does that one move just make you better at that? Okay, so by and large, agility ladders just make you better at agility ladders. But it kind of looks like I'm moving around like that on a wrestling mat, right? Kinda. That's where wrestling comes in. That's where you have to have both. Okay. In wrestling practice, I'm moving around like a wrestler. I'm practicing my wrestling agility, doing wrestling moves. I'm in my stance. Okay. And you could try to mimic that with a agility ladder, but why? Why? Just drill more wrestling moves, create more scenarios. Well, I want them to get good on their feet. Well, do more live. Okay. Create situations that they weren't good on their feet. Okay. Tell them parameters, tell them rules, create drills. Okay. You weren't good on your feet when he was shooting at you a lot. So for 30-second goes, you're not allowed to shoot, and your opponent will continuously shoot on you. And you're going to try to time up your snap down go behinds, your down block go behinds. We're just going to do that for 30 seconds. We'll do that for 10 sets. Okay. Your agility, your wrestling agility will go through the roof. And you'll have way higher ROI by doing wrestling drills like that than a scripted agility ladder movements. Because a lot of those are just hopscotch. Okay. And I found in the last 30 years that the only reason, because we would do agility ladders at football camps, track camps, they show up here and there, at a wrestling practice. And the only reason I ever faltered on an agility ladder is I just didn't know the movement. I didn't know the pattern. It was just a matter of memorizing the pattern, and then I would fly through it. It's not actually a measure of did you increase agility. Now, what's an extremely better, more higher value measure of agility? And what you got to keep in mind, there's three components: the concentric, the amortization, and the eccentric phase. And you could go in either direction. You go down up or down up or up down. When you change level in a shot, you go down and then you go forward. So that's like going down and then up, like in a squat. How fluidly you can do that. You want each phase to be 0. You could time this. And you're always trying to be very fluid, very fast, under control, high level of skill, while trying to get each phase to 0. Going down, I want to go down quickly, 0. Even on my squats, without falling over, without putting myself in danger, depending on the load you have. I want to descend quickly. Okay. I want to essentially bounce out of that hole. I want to transition quickly. The transition's the amortization phase. Transition quickly. And then I want to accelerate upward. I want to pop up. I want to stand up fast. Down, up. Okay. So when you're doing your squats, your back squat, front squat, overhead squat, your cleans and snatches with squats in it, you're always thinking about that concept. What really is agility? It's who can change direction better and accelerate through those phases better. All right. You're gonna hit a plateau, a quick point of diminishing returns if you only do things like agility ladders and cone drills. Okay, because the person who can take a 400-pound squat to the bottom and right back up quickly is going to have way more agility than the person who falls over when they try to take 100 pounds below parallel. And I've seen that a lot. That sounds like an extreme example, but it's not. I've had kids tell me they could squat 400 pounds and they do a quarter squat, a range of motion that is not does not have a high transference. When you only do a quarter squat, you're only good at that range of motion. You don't have much agility. Okay. And then I asked them, okay, take that all the way down. Take it to where your hip crease is at or below your kneecap. And they can't. Immediately they cannot. Okay, so what has more transference? Taking 400 to a quarter squat, limited agility, or taking 400 to a full squat, okay, maximal agility. Of course, the full squat does. All right. And if you want, because football players are very interested in this, and they measure on the football field and how they move around and run. So the shuttle drills, the cone drills are a test for them, and they want to do them faster than to say the guy they want to beat out for a position. Doing more cone drills isn't going to get you there. You want to beat that guy in cone drills? Improve your back squat, front squat, overhead squat. Okay, because these have the most transference for the agility throughout your whole body while on your feet, triple flexing, triple extending your legs. Okay, where, like I said before, the cone drill will just have diminishing returns. And you'll be beating your head against the wall, wondering why you're not getting any better at it. Okay, so that is the reason why certain things do not make it into our programming and just don't make it into my gym anymore. I don't necessarily ban them. They just don't have as much return, as much value as the things we're after. We're getting down to the foundation, the fundamentals. It's like, what is it that you're really after when you're doing those agility drills and cone drills? It's your ability to change direction. What gives you the ability to change direction? Balance, coordination, strength, speed, these other things that other movements like squats and Olympic lifts will give you, and continuously increase those to higher elite levels without plateauing.